Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have LD here with me. And you are on Glenda's Dragon's Den. Glenda's Dragon's Den comes to you live from Glenda's Magical Creations channel on the Conscious Awakening Network on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, so many different streaming platforms. Tonight, we have a wonderful couple.
Well, we always have a wonderful couple.
We have a wonderful couple who are beautifully showing and expressing their divine union. Kaliana, Rama, welcome. How are you?
Great, thanks, Glenda.
Thank you, Glenda and LD.
LD for inviting us from Australia, just above Byron Bay.
So geographically, Byron Bay is the easternmost point of Australia. Think subtropical mountains coming down to beautiful beaches with the whales going past and the dolphins on a daily basis. We can paint that picture for you, then that's our
beautiful
our geographical location. Yeah.
So tell us about yourselves.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay. So I'm Kaliana, and Ram and I have been together going on 36 years. We met at the equinox 36
1987.
years ago. And our commission has been to dissolve anything that came up for us that was preventing literally the inner union, and therefore it can project out onto the outer union. And so through teaching sacred union workshops in Australia and around the world, our whole purpose has been that as a twin flame couple, it can be very intense. In fact, Catherine Ann Clements, I think, said that when she wrote Voices of the Magdalene with Claire Hartsong, and she said that when a twin flame couple comes together, it is so intense that it actually can birth or destroy a planet. And part of that is the old story of Meldek, the planet that exploded in the Pleiades. And that came about through twin flames being in the center. Lucifer was overlighting it and went into the Lucifer rebellion, free will choice, which we're mopping up now, literally, in the world. And in the center were twin flames. They received the energy, radiated out like they always had. When it became distorted, eventually the planet exploded. They exploded and left a very strong wound in the twin flame body. And that wound is, if we merge in full chakra union, the planet's going to explode. And so we work a lot with healing some of the galactic wounds that have affected the twin flame body. There's also was a belief that when one would be in the body, one wouldn't. And that goes back to Atlantean times. And now at the moment, many twin flames are embodying, walking in, because in the new epoch that the world is moving into, heaven on earth, call it, there needs to be X amount of twin flames embodied to hold that energy of birth, because we birth through the inner union. And if a couple is destined to incarnate or walk in and be physically in a twin flame relationship, then it's not for everybody, because it can be very intense. The soulmate is sort of like, oh, I know you, let's have fun. The twin flame is, I remember you from the one spark that separated into a male-female body. That's the original twin flame. And from that can come many offshoots.
Right.
But you remember union. And so you bring up everything in each other that may be blocking that union. And that's why it can be intense. That's why some twin flame couples don't make it. They sort of go apart because it's so intense. But we own that we are one, because we're saying, you can come through this. We did. We separated, came back together, separated, came back together, and birthed a child together who was literally helping us come back to union, an amazing daughter. And so to be a twin flame couple isn't necessarily everybody's destiny. And our work in our Sacred Union workshops is to support that inner twin flame, because that's how we birth Christ consciousness. It's how we birth ourselves, through that inner union.
regardless of whether we're in relationship with another
Right.
or within ourselves, because the earth herself is now calling for loving, committed couples who are contracted, and anybody who's on earth at this time is contracted to be here through this immense shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so regardless of the so-called status of the relationship, the commitment that's required from the Earth Mother and from the realms of the earth and from the inner earth in order to bring forth a sacred union matrix of the earth. And as we connect with each other, as we are with you two today, for the
Mm-hmm.
first time, as we continue expanding that matrix, then we lift the light quotient on earth, and the earth celebrates, just as the earth celebrates and the galaxies celebrate when one human truly forgives another. And that's been a very key component of our work, is forgiveness and the depth of forgiveness.
Because in our work in Sacred Union, when we've done it as workshops, we separate into men's and women's groups, then we come together to face each other and say, as a woman, for instance, what I need to forgive the masculine for. And what, as a woman, I need to ask the masculine to forgive me for. Because in our whole separate patriarchal, matriarchal ages, we're in what we call now holyarchy, which is masculine and feminine equally empowered side by side together, bringing heaven to earth through their union. But we're mopping up, and a lot of that fear of not trusting. Like if you look at it like a seesaw, because of those patriarchal, matriarchal ages, when the masculine gets strong, the feminine goes, oh no, I'm going to be disempowered. And the same, when the feminine gets strong, the masculine goes, oh no, I'm going to be disempowered. So if we can come to forgiveness, look at what we've learned through those separate ages, which is they don't work.
Mm-hmm.
We need masculine and feminine equally empowered side by side. And when Rama and I make love, and yes, we're in our 70s and we still do make love. That's a question. Sometimes you don't have sex still, do you? Well, yes, we do. And when we do, we offer it in Sacred Union, and we often find ourselves standing in the halls of Amenti. And the halls of Amenti are the path of ascension. And there needs to be X amount of twin flame couples, embodied hopefully or with their own inner union, standing there to open up the halls of Amenti for the earth herself to ascend. And so it is really important to make having sex, making love, however you name it, a sacred act. And sometimes what that means is, sometimes I have songs that sing the truth to the chakras. We sing the energy flows, because if the solar plexus chakra or the sacral chakra is open, the heart is open, but the solar plexus is closed because of that belief there can only be one empowered at the same time, you don't have the flows of sacred union, of orgasms of the heart. And if you can clear your energy first, rather than dumping on each other when you merge, you have a chance to do amazing earth work like they would do going in Egypt. They would go and make love to send out through the land for fertility.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do that ourselves with our own inner union in our heart temple, or when we make love, if we have a physical partner that we trust and love, we can do amazing things for the earth together.
And we can do it for the earth and the realms of the earth, but we also gift it to the universe, the multiverse. We go out from deep within the heart of the earth and we gift this to the other realms, and we show, we demonstrate we can do this from a third dimensional planet that, yes, is ascending. However, we're bridging, we're straddling these dimensions. And so a lot of my work with men is teaching them what real power is, because we know what the distortions are. We don't even need to go there. We know well enough. But to teach the men what real power is, real spiritual power is, and how power that is harnessed, fortified, and blessed by the deepest of love, that is personal, but also, if you like, transpersonal or universal. And so the primary thing, the primary relationship is with creator, goddess, God, all that is, all of those names for the unnameable. And when we reflect that to each other, that I know that Kaliana's deepest yearning is that merging, that union with the infinite and the divine, and she knows that in me. And when we have it in human form, even within these relatively aging bodies, then we do an immense service. And also we hold the keys of regeneration, of renewal, of refreshment, and we would like to believe longevity. And that's the gift of the sacred sexual work.
And the gift of a couple is because we are at a time on our planet when we are being asked to literally be acupuncture points of light to birth, because the Mother Earth is ascending into Christ consciousness, the Christ planes are descending to meet her. So on the surface is all this light. And those fallen, call them the fallen angelics from the Lucifer Rebellion, however you want to name them, are panicking a little bit because they can't exist in that light. So there's an attempt to shut down humanity. And so I've done a whole series of codes called DNA repatterning, which is to keep the endocrine system alive and well, connected to the DNA-like filaments, to bring the light and embody it through our endocrine system. The hormones take it through the blood, and that's how we hold that Christ consciousness or our own light. And if you want, because it is basically the inner union that this is occurring to birth ourselves. So if as a woman, I want to know where I'm at with my inner union, I look at what the masculine is reflecting to me. And it's a gift, even though it may be confronting, because it shows me what work I have to do. And the same for men. If they want to see where they're at with their inner feminine, look at what the feminine is saying to them, and that will show them what inner work they need to do, rather than saying, dumping or saying, you made me angry. It's like, no, you showed me something that I haven't resolved in my own inner union, because in order to birth myself, I need to be at peace with the masculine, which is the pillar to the right of my body, the feminine, which is the pillar to the left. And sometimes we have within our own inner union unresolved issues. They may be past incarnational issues where the feminine may have been wounded by the masculine and so is holding back from that union within. And if we don't come to peace within, then we are able to birth that Christ consciousness, the angelic human, that beautiful Christ child wanting to birth as the earth births into that energy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And where the power really lies, the true power, is in taking responsibility for every single creation that we have, every thought, every action, every relationship, no matter how challenging. And as we know, the challenging relationships are usually our greatest teachers, whether it's in our blood family, whether it's in intimate relationship. But if we say, I am 100% responsible for this creation, I am a creator being, and I'm responsible for that, what can I learn? What is my lesson here? And because we've got this merging of timelines, because we've had many, many, many earth experiences, we know it a lot. We know war, we know birth, we know ecstasy, we know agony, and everything in between.
We've been the good guy, the bad guy, so-called, in order to learn. We've acted out everything. And if we don't make those parts of ourselves wrong, bring them back in and say, okay, if I'm a sovereign being, I'm not a victim. I created this in order to learn something. What did my soul learn? And when you get that learning, you're free. And those parts that live in our field and still sending out thought forms, they can go across Rainbow Bridge and ascend into our own presence, because their job is complete once we have the soul learning. And sometimes we're saying to them, I'm so sorry that on this level you suffered in any way in order for our soul to learn this. And that's sovereignty. That's what we are being asked to own, our own sovereignty. We are not victims of anything.
And sometimes people ask me, what's my purpose? And of course, each of us has a particular part of the mission, a particular purpose, and that may have some threads or a very singular thread. But essentially, we're meant to be conduits for love and light and wisdom and power, flowing through the heart, flowing through the higher mind, and flowing into the earth. Some of us may be very active in the world. Some of us may be in the cave. It matters not. Whatever role we're in currently, the more that we can activate and enlarge our full presence in the body on the earth, the more we bring that through and we gift that to the earth and we gift it to all life and through all the dimensions of the earth.
And we can always, sometimes if I've been at a conference and there's a lot of people, and I'd sometimes be there with a stand with all my essences, and people would come up to you and say, oh, it's so wonderful. You know, I wish I knew what my soul purpose was. Look at you. And I go, well, look at me. It's not necessarily easy. In order to bring through essences or codes, you can't just say, oh, that's nice. It moves that through you. And so I'd say to them, so tell me about yourself. And they would. And I'd say, and you don't believe for 1 minute that you're not fulfilling your life purpose. And what I found is that sometimes when we're fulfilling our part in the at-one-ment or our soul purpose or mission, it comes so naturally to us that we think anyone could do it. And we don't actually honor that it's actually a unique puzzle piece that we hold. And so I say to people, if you want to know what you can do, just own all you are, all your experience, all your gifts, and offer it to Mother Earth and say, how can I serve you?
And if I can share with you where my journey began. Paradoxically, 1968, 1969, I found myself in Vietnam. And in a helicopter, I was given my mission because I'd been asking. And I was given it at a relatively young age. And that propelled me into my work in healing, etc. And in order to learn the deepest of empathy, compassion, understanding of the great American military machine, and many, many lessons in that initiation. That was my very first men's group, 1968, 69. And then I was commissioned. I'd been running groups mixed groups for about 5 years, you know, men, women, dogs, cats, dolphins. And in 87, very soon after I met Kaliana, I climbed our local sacred mountain here, Mount Wollumbin. And I received very clearly to focus on men's work. And so I accepted that commission, and about a year or so after that, I was then commissioned to extend that work with teenagers, particularly teenage boys. And so for me, it's been about listening to that guidance, feeling its authenticity, and acting upon it in the best way that I can. And that continues to unfold and unfold. I've been supporting the men in the school, in last year's School of the Sacred Masculine, to find the deeper inner purpose. And it's been immensely satisfying, fulfilling for me to have a really good number of them find that purpose. So they're writing books, they're running groups, various flavors that resonate with them in order to spread the word, spread the light, spread the wisdom and the love. And that moves and moves exponentially.
So in your paradigm, all these lifetimes, have you always been the same genders that you are right now?
No.
And in fact, when we first met, we would see almost from that first spark of separation, because we're an original twin flame, we were finishing conversations. We were healing that wound of Meldek, letting go of guilt or blame. We saw so many past incarnations. And yes, sometimes, well, you'd know, when we incarnate, often we incarnate with soul families again. Sometimes one of them will play the bad guy for us, so-called, so that we can heal or complete karma.
Right.
Sometimes you're a sister or brother, sometimes you're a couple. It can be so different in many incarnations, I've found in my personal journey.
And as the veils are lifting from the planet on so many levels, it's the age of exposure. The darkness is being exposed. But the veils are also lifting. Planet amnesia, planet amnesia. That amnesia is also being lifted. And there are some, skilled people who can help us lift the veil of forgetfulness so that we know that we've danced in and out of male, female bodies. We've been poor, wealthy, powerless, powerful, and everything in between. Why? In order to learn this beautiful, exquisite, glorious teaching planet of Mother Earth gives us so much. And so,
and the light that is shining on, like on the earth for eons, humanity has been manipulated through fear. It's nothing. But the exciting thing, in a way, even though it's confronting for many people, is that as this light comes in, as Mother Earth claims her right to no longer be the planet where it's acted out in such a dysfunctional, tortuous way, then it's all coming to the surface to be seen, for people to choose. It's nothing new, but it's like for people to be given that choice, hopefully when we complete the free will experience, which the Earth is the last apparently in the spiral galaxies that is completing the learning from the Lucifer rebellion of free will against divine will. It's all through the emotional body. And that's why embodying through the endocrine, being real around our emotional energies, is really, really crucial at this time, and to choose. And some people are choosing to leave the planet because it isn't their mission to be there in this next epoch. And others are choosing to stay and be literally those acupuncture points of light on the earth by being who they are and walking it here. And that may be owning your star lineages. Mine is Andromedan, Pleiadian. I bring through bodies of work when I have embodied those higher self aspects of myself.
Now, to
Because,
take this full circle,
yes,
you're both parents.
yes,
Who raised
parents, step parents, and grandparents. Yes.
parents? Who raised who?
who raised who? Okay, so yes, I wrote a letter to, when my last daughter left home. It was the first time in 33 years of parenting that I hadn't had a live-in child. So I couldn't stop crying. And then I realized, well, if I had completed a 33-year job, I'd get a gold watch, a certificate. And the only one who could give it to was myself. So I wrote an email to all my children. And on that email, I cried through a lot of it. I honored, I apologized, I explained. And at the end of it, I said, we're all perfect for each other. I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for you. And the lessons you taught me about unconditional love, about having to be present for someone 24/7 and put some of your own needs aside. And so parenting also helps us clear what we have unresolved with our own parents. So if you have children, and we had to marry, like I had 3, Rama had 1, and we had 1 together to bridge. And they had to learn to accept us. And so
Now,
that wasn't always easy.
Yeah.
in your
And-
experience of divine union, do you find that the male and the female have specific roles within the child's understanding? The child is or is not hardwired to get different modeling from the male and the female based on the gender of the child? Or how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, at its very highest, when the male, the man, embodies the energy of the Divine Father, when the woman, the female, embodies the energy of the Divine Feminine, whether it's in an opposite sex or same-sex relationship, then that energy, that presence flows through. That's the very highest aspect of parenting. The mundane stuff, the changing of the nappies, the setting of boundaries, the sick nights, sleeplessness, all of that goes with that. But what we try to teach people is how to embody the divine masculine, what that feels like in the body, what the authentic masculine feels like in the body. And I'll speak as a man, as a soul occupying a male body this lifetime. I'll let Kaliana speak about her embodiment.
What is really important is, and in some of my DNA repatterning, I work with the oxytocin hormone code, because if a mother is feeling unsafe or given artificial oxytocin, she doesn't bring through the true spiritual nature of that hormone, which is to bond with the Divine Mother. And so she can be a lineage of that for her children, of the Divine Feminine. Now, what I found, because I've worked a lot in birth with essences to support birth, is how important it is these days for both the mother and father to be present at the birth, because the child picks up the codes from them. At age 7, for instance, if the father isn't present or hasn't been able to be there, the child often doesn't move out in the world through the masculine. So in the first 7 years, very nurtured by the feminine in the ideal thing, leaves that field, turns to the father around age 7. So many, I have a card for that, a flower essence to support that healing. And people often will pick it and I'll say, what happened at age 7? And I'll say, parents divorced, dad left and didn't have. So we can teach them to call on the ancient father circle, that divine masculine, to give them the codes that maybe their dad couldn't give them. Children also, because they love us, they've incarnated through us for a reason, they will mirror back to us something maybe we have unresolved in our own inner child at that age. Mm-hmm. And if we can give gratitude rather than getting really annoyed because of what they're acting out, it can show us what is unresolved at that age for us. And often we react, we don't want to be with them because they're mirroring back to us something unresolved at that age.
And we get a wonderful opportunity with grandchildren to go through that again, but with hopefully some more wisdom, some more insight, without the day-to-day responsibilities of the children. And so we get to go through that again. Here is my innocent and divine child birthing onto the earth. Here is this magnificent and unique soul coming through into this tiny body. And what is my karmic connection? Look, when I met Kaliana, I met her 3 children and her husband. They were so completely familiar to me, quite a bit from North America.
My former husband, you could say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the lines between blood children and non-blood, or step, if you like, become very blurred, because there is a karmic contract to be with these children, who are now very mature adults, of course, and with children of their own, in order to learn, to resolve, to complete, to tie up threads. We're in an epoch of tying up the karmic threads, not necessarily comfortable, often confronting. And yet, if we can see any situation and relationship, that this is the time for the cleaning and completion of those threads, usually deep forgiveness, understanding of the laws of reflection, compassion, and karma,
Humor.
and forgiveness.
Humor sometimes, just to laugh at our own reactions and just to bring some humor into it is helpful. And I know for me personally, I was 17 years with my former partner who passed away last year, my former husband, and we were complete. So we tried to do it as graciously as we could. We tried to make sure that that our children, our 3 children, knew that they didn't have to choose. They could love both of us, even though we couldn't stay together. And we stayed friends till he passed away. And I honor him as a soul partner, like very familiar soul partner. But my work was to come together with Rama to do the twin flame work. And so to honor, not make our partners wrong when we separate, when our contracts are finished, to honor them and all the learnings that sometimes when Rama and I first met, I'd be weeping, still completing and letting go of that relationship with my former husband, but thanking him because he gave me certain things that Rama didn't.
And, one of the most paradoxically satisfying parts of my work, one of my hats is as a marriage counsellor, is helping people to consciously separate, to understand that the contract they've got is held in the soul star above the crown center, and to access the knowledge, the memory, and the wisdom that's held within the soul contract. I'm meant to be with you for X number of years and bring through some children or not, and now we're complete. And so helping to, clean up that mess can also be incredibly rewarding. Like in the school, I assisted 2 of the men to consciously separate from the relationships they were in. There was a lot of love there, a lot of understanding, but both the men knew they needed to move on.
And some of that is dissolving cords. Like sometimes when we make love, when we're together, we cord with each other. And sometimes a couple will separate and they don't dissolve those cords. So they're always being pulled back, always pulling back. And if you haven't forgiven, there's a part in your heart that won't open up to the new relationship because you are holding unresolved energies. And the worst thing on our planet is we're taught victim consciousness. We're not victims, we're sovereign beings, but often we're taught, well, I'm angry because you made me so, rather than you showed me that I had some unresolved anger. And my path has been very different from Rama's. I started doing my work as a mother, prem babies, as a child with acquired brain injuries from an accident. And so every time I thought I'd go and do a university course, I would be pulled back and I would be trained on the inner planes. And so a lot of what I teach is bodies of work that I've been given from my higher selves, from Andromeda, Pleiades, and through my life experience of what I've had to work through and resolve and how to do that. So I didn't go and get a university degree. I did it on the inner planes. And I just want to acknowledge all the mothers out there, because sometimes they go, I can't do my work because I'm a mother, but I wouldn't have done my work if it wasn't for being a mother. I had to work through totally disempowered birth to conscious birth so I could bring through a range of essences for conscious birth. So my path is very much around empathy, like working through things, and then I can hold that space for someone else. So to all the mothers out there, never think that your work has to stop when you become a mother, because often our children help us birth something in ourselves.
Right.
Well, on the subject of honoring contracts, this is an hour show. And it's my understanding the two of you wanted to do a meditation, share a meditation with us. Is that, am I correct in that?
Yes,
That's correct.
yeah,
All right,
we'd like
and
to.
We're
take you on
already
a
over a half hour in.
Okay,
So
thank you, timekeeper.
Thank you.
So what we ask for guidance around what to offer to you and anyone listening is, this is a sacred code. I don't know if you can see it. These are called the light of Christ consciousness. So these codes come from doing Yeshua codes, Magdalene codes, bringing them together in union through the twin flame alliances to support that inner union, that inner marriage to birth. So this is called the Blue Rose of Divine Union. It gets activated through light language. So I'll read you what it's about first, and I'll ask you to just breathe it in. And I will sing it in with its mantra in the language of light. But what this is about is the blue rose symbolizes union. It ceased to bloom during the illusion of separation, when humanity acted out the matriarchal and patriarchal ages. With the activation of the Yeshua and Magdalene codes, it blooms again. The six-pointed star of David represents the Hios Gamos, the union of the divine Christed masculine and the divine Christed feminine. The spiritual purpose of this code is to carry and activate the blueprint of divine union to bless the earth and all levels and dimensions of creation. The blessing of this code is to nurture the joy and celebration of the union within through love and forgiveness. And this is a message, a transmission or a channeled message that I received from Yeshua. I would speak of the energy, confederation, and blessing held within the symbol of the blue rose. The blue rose is in itself a portal of love, for love's promise of return to the love of the Christ for all beings. As humanity attains and reclaims the union within, the blue rose will unfold its petals and blossom once again. Its message is one of unconditional love between the masculine and the feminine, co-joined, bringing forth from that union the Christ child within, or the angelic human. It is through the petals, the portals of the blue rose, that the Christ child will birth on the earth, bringing a gift of joy, joyous celebration. And this celebration is waiting for all who birth this child of Christ consciousness within themselves. So codes are dimensional. They're galactic codes. They hold this blueprint or patterning. So I'm going to hand it over to Rama to take you into this meditation, and I'll keep holding this up and I will activate it so that we can ask that this be given as we call forth your masculine and feminine energies within to receive that code and all its blessings.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaliana. If we would all like to close our eyes and go within and just take a moment to digest all of the words that we've shared so far. And taking a deep breath now, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and breathing the holy breath deep into the center of our chest, deep into the eternal flames of the heart, allowing the physical body, as far as we're able, to come to stillness and rest, and thanking our physical body, allowing our emotional body, acknowledging all that may be going on, but asking it to come now into equanimity, and acknowledging now our mind and all that it creates, and asking particularly our left brain to just take a break and just think now of the right hemisphere of our brain, our access to superconsciousness, and we prepare now in our Merkaba, our sacred geometric vehicle, with the heart at the very center of it. And we begin to travel now. We begin to travel deep into the earth.
And we ask you to call in a sphere of light around you, a sphere of light that holds all of your soul journey, and to welcome in the soul colors that you incarnated in to the earth body or walked into to support your inner journey. So welcome in whatever rays of energy are flooding into your field, and to feel as you sit in that heart temple, a beautiful golden star anchoring around you, golden pyramid above and below. Through the grace of the solar angels. And as these two golden pyramids come together, they form a six-pointed star, holding the codes of male-female balance and union.
And this six-pointed star is overlighted by the Magdalene, Lady Nada, Yeshua the Christ, Lady Portia, and Saint Germain, and Venus Kumara, Lady Venus, and Sanat Kumara, each of them holding and sustaining the six-pointed star.
And flowing through that six-pointed star, through the grace of the solar angels who emanate from beyond the great, great central sun, bring through blessings from source of all that is, through the 13 rainbow rays of heaven on earth, the new earth. So welcome now to swirl all around you, 13 rainbow rays Some of them are opalescent, some are vibrant. And as we do that, we call in the twin flame alliances, represented by those Rama has named, to hold throughout this process your own inner twin flame through your own presence that lives in union. So calling in your own divine presence, Holy Spirit, all of your own inner guides and teachers, those that work with you, to surround you as we call in your own divine feminine and your own divine masculine to overlight your masculine and feminine energies.
As we now travel deep into the earth, deeper and deeper toward the heart of the Earth Mother, and travel deeper and deeper still until we come to a cavern, a mossy green cavern on the outside. And as we hold our hands to our heart center, we notice there is a curved archway. On either side of the archway are two very tall beings of light, each dressed primarily in pure white and some gold. We bow to each of these two, the guardians of this cavern of sacred sexuality. We ask their permission to enter. And as the doorway slides open, we step into the cavern. We adjust to the frequencies within. A beautiful grotto lined with soft crystalline gold. And in the very center of this cavern is a circular pool of clear, warm waters, surrounded by sweet, exotic flowers and cool green ferns.
And as you step into that water, we ask you to call on a representative of your feminine from the feminine pillar to the left of your body, to step forward, representing your inner feminine. Open your heart and send your heart flame to them to welcome this representative. And then we ask you to welcome from the masculine pillar to the right a representative of your inner masculine to stand facing each other in that pool. And we're going to activate this blue rose of union with its song and just see that this inner feminine, inner masculine are being offered this code so that they may release any unresolved thought forms, even past incarnational beliefs that have kept them separate. Ishka ha'ana heya, ana, ishka ana hey, ishka ha'ana heya, ana, ishka ana hey, ishka ana heya, ana, ishka ana hey, ishka ana heya, ana, ishka ana hey, Ishkaha ana heya. Ana ana ishka ana hey. Ishka ha ana heya. Ana ana ishka ana hey. We call on the twin flame alliances to be with us. We call on your own divine presence, Holy Spirit, your own divine feminine, divine masculine, to overlight these two parts of yourself and ask them to offer up any beliefs that would prevent them from merging in inner union within.
The energy of this cavern, this sacred cavern, is that it holds the original blueprint from Source Creator for the use of sexual energy on planet Earth. It holds only the purity, innocence, power, grace, joy, and creativity of sexual energy. It is a place where no distortion may enter. No distortion may enter here.
And we're just going to sing the flows of sacred union for these two and see them circling within you and back and forth between your own representative of your masculine and feminine energies. For if the sacral chakra is open and the heart, but solar plexus is not open, you don't have those flows of sacred union or orgasms of the heart. So we'd ask you to release the belief from patriarchy, matriarchy, saying with us, I release the belief that there can only be one, either masculine or feminine, empowered at the same time. And as I sing these flows, singing the truth back in the language of light to the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, and the heart, and just to breathe out and offer up into the pool, into this portal, any beliefs that are keeping you separate from that union within, that may be acted out on the outside in your relationships. So singing the truth back to the sacral. In Ra-am, in Ra-am, in Ra-am,
In Rayam.
solar plexus, come back to truth. E-I-E-O,
E-I-E-O.
E-I-E-O. Heart chakra, come back to truth.
Ayo,
Ayo,
ayo, ayo.
Opening up the figure 8 flow from the sacral through the solar plexus to the heart, and just breathing out any energy that is blocking that flow.
As the purification of the waters, the transmutation held within the waters begins to dissolve, release, and transmute from any time, space, or dimension, any experience of sexual energy that has been less than holy, less than divine. Allow the waters now to transmute, to release.
As we activate that flow, feel that figure 8 flow going from the sacral chakra through the solar plexus to the heart. A-E-O, E-I-E-O, in Ra,
Ra-am, ayo, rayo,
in
Ra-am.
Opening up the bridge now from the heart to the high heart, thymus chakra, which is the seat of the inner union. So as we open those flows, and a rainbow bridge goes from your heart to the high heart. A-O, 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 Atana, E, Atana, E, Illa,
Ame
Ilai me
Yo
Ila.
La Ame.
Calling in again the twin flame alliances to support your own inner twin flame union. Feeling that blue code of union activating, offering all its blessings to nurture the joy and celebration of the union within through love and forgiveness, as we call on the universal law of forgiveness now.
To
just
surround
offer.
and permeate, infuse this vast universal law to do its sacred work in releasing and healing.
Anything that needs to be forgiven in this and other lifetimes where the masculine and feminine has not acted out in loving or compassionate ways. Just breathe it out and offer it up. You may hear thought forms. I release the belief that it's not safe to open my heart. There is a belief held within from patriarchy, matriarchy. The feminine is, if I let down my defenses, the masculine will overpower me with strength. The masculine, if I let down my defenses, then the feminine will overpower me with their psychic gifts. So offer that up. None of that is true anymore. We are meant to birth ourselves through our inner union.
And receive now the pure essence of this cavern, the innocence, power, creativity, joy, a sacred sexual union. Embrace yourselves. Put your left hand on your sacral center, just below the navel, your right hand on your heart, and draw that bridge, that connection between the sacral sexual center and the heart center. Feel your fullness and wholeness. As we now begin to leave the cavern, we thank the cavern, we bless it.
And we just say this affirmation of that code of union. So say with me, through the grace of the heart of Divine Mother, Father, earthing through divine union of Yeshua and Magdalene, I embrace the light of Christ consciousness to activate within my field the blue rose of divine union. Breathing it in.
And as we prepare to leave the cavern now, we thank all the guardians, we thank the energy of the cavern. As our door slides open, closes behind us, knowing that with a pure heart, any time we may enter this cavern. We thank the guardians. We begin our ascent now through the earth, upwards, coming to the surface, returning fully now to our physical bodies, in our space, our room.
And just, if you open your eyes and look at the code again, and just feel it expanding into that whole sphere of light around you, giving it permission to continue to teach you the blueprints of what it is to live in divine union within or without. And giving thanks to any beings in your life who have mirrored back to you what it is you need to heal with your masculine and feminine energy within. Thank them.
That's beautiful. That was
That.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Kaliana. Thank you, Rama.
Thank you. And with that, we have about 5 minutes left. So,
Oh,
yeah.
well, this must be time for advertisements. This year's School of the Sacred Masculine coming up in a few weeks' time. 33 weeks.
How do people find
It's
that?
It's already up.
We have the website, it's up
Right.
there.
So it's on that website.
Yep, 33 weeks online for men only, or those in in male embodiment this lifetime. And we're also taking a small group of 8 people to the Australian desert in August for 11 days. And there are still spaces left on both the desert journey in August and in this year's school, which goes from June this year until March next year.
Okay.
And all that information is available on that website.
And Uluru is traditionally the solar plexus chakra of the world, and it's an amazing journey to pilgrimage there and ask for your soul dreaming, your mission to be empowered. Often souls have left their codes there and take them back from that place. It's beautiful red earth. It's the heart of Australia, but it's the solar plexus chakra of the world. It will be my 14th journey there.
Wow.
My 11th.
Okay.
So we love it, and we love taking people there.
And now,
So thank you both so much for the beautiful work that you're
thank you.
doing, and thank you for demonstrating the power and the love of a couple working together in harmony.
Yes.
It's inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are also inspirational. It's definitely is showing everyone that it could happen.
And like I said at the beginning, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Ditto.
Yeah.
And I think that through our Sacred Union work, when we've traveled and taught it, or we've done it through webinars, that what we're saying, because is you can do it, and it's really time for couples to work together, equally empowered, side by side, birthing heaven on earth. That's the heaven on earth mission. Be it you're not in relationship and you do it through your own inner union, or whether you manifest an outer twin flame or a soulmate relationship, it doesn't matter. Just to let your union be sacred, and to not let the day-to-day little things that come up, because I know when Rama and I met, we were remembering past lives, we were completing conversations, we went back to that original spark that separated into a male-female body. And what I learned from that, and what I say to everyone, is you may have known each other on a soul level forever. This personality, this lifetime, you have never met. You may be very different. You may trigger each other all over the place, and that's where unconditional love comes in.
Right. So very true. So very true. So now you have another website, which it's Rama Raphael, right? Correct?
That's a lot for my products. I have a lot of products and codes. The code that I held up is one of 18. There's different codes and manuals, CDs and flower essences, all supporting, and sprays, the heaven on earth. So that's the website. There is some stuff about Rama and I on it. We haven't been offering workshops physically, and I'm one of the teachers.
For obvious reasons.
I'm one of the teachers on Rama's school, holding the feminine, teaching the Yeshua codes. So that's my focus a bit at the moment.
Yeah, on the school, I have a beautiful team of 3 men, 3 women, 3 elder, beautiful, wise women, and three of us beautiful men delivering. It's primarily the men delivering to the men, but also accessing the wisdom of the women to support us.
And I'll also be sending out a newsletter soon, offering some specials on the Magdalene Code journey.
Okay.
And so please join if you go into www.roseraphael.com.au, you can join our mailing list and you will get all that information. We don't bombard you with a lot of things, but this is only the second newsletter we've done after I've been doing this for 35 years.
Okay.
But it's offering a very big discount if someone's interested in becoming a portal of those Magdalene codes.
Perfect. Thank you.
And on the homepage of the School of the Sacred Masculine, there's a free audio recording that I made. It goes for about 100 minutes. And that's from the foundation teachings.
Okay.
There are 11 foundation teachings. And that's, some may call it channeling. I call it transmission. And that's there for anybody to access in their own time.
And I realize time's up.
Time is up.
Thank you.
We could spend many hours, but
many
hours.
Much. Thank you, everyone. Bless you all. Love you. Stay with us, Kaliana.